Hello, and welcome to The Enterprising Agent, a podcast to help agents work smarter, not harder. My name is Stephanie Stone Robb. I run The Enterprising Agent, and with us, we have an amazing guest this week. I would like to welcome to The Enterprising Agent, Jane Hewley. Jane, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. So I've been in real estate now for 7 years and love every minute of it. You know, we all have the roller coaster ride in real estate, but for me,
Of
it's
course.
just gives me time to catch up on stuff. so,
So, what made you
uh,
decide to get into real estate in the first place?
so I've been an investor in real estate for longer than I
Okay.
really want to admit to. Um, And with that, I've always been dancing around the market. And way back in high school, I worked for a top producing agent, but that's a whole other story. Um, then I had a career with training dogs, grooming dogs, doing dogs, and
Talk about a
it-
transition from one career to another.
not really, not really. So dog training is 25% dog, 75% human. Real
Mm.
estate is 25% house, 75% human. So really, the percentages haven't changed. It's just that 25% that's different.
I love that. We have French bulldogs, very finicky dogs.
You have
Very
gremlins.
hard to yes, absolutely. The joys of my life, but
Yes.
we our trainers, bless them. Very hard to train dogs. So I totally will take full responsibility of that 75% owner that
Yep.
sometimes doesn't stick with it. And when you said that it's 25% house, 75% client, oh, I felt that deep in my soul. I totally get where you're
You know,
coming from.
yeah. Often, I mean, we can talk about it, but often the house part is not the problem, right? It's all
Mhm.
the other pieces. And really in a transaction, the house part, while it plays a role, really it's about educating, guiding, coaching, all of those keywords, the client. Whether it's
Yeah.
the seller or whether it's the buyer, our job is to walk them through the transaction, hold their hands, get them from point A to point B, and ultimately have a seller and a buyer come together at a closing table and exchange keys. Like that. That's what we do in a nutshell, right? Now, there's a lot
Yeah,
of
and
pieces and there's a lot of
mhm.
stuff, but that's just stuff,
Yeah, that's just details at the end of the day.
details. Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
it's very much like working with agents. I always say I went from having my buyers and my sellers as my clients to now having agents as my clients. And it is still very much, if I think about it, that 25% transaction, 75% where that agent is coming from, where their mindset is, where that
sure.
level of dedication is. So since we're talking about that 25, 75, and we didn't really expect to go down this path, but talk to me about for you personally, how do you keep yourself moving down that 75% that you need to devote to have that 25% house to play with?
Yeah, so it's really about education, right?
Hmm.
So either it's a seller or it's a buyer. Right now, everybody's kind of freaking out with the market a little bit, like, oh my God, because we had this candy land of a market through, basically COVID, where all you had
Hmm.
to do was wish hard on a star and boom, you could sell a house. And,
Hmm.
the buyers were extremely frustrated with climbing the ladders and, I don't remember how to play Candyland. I think I got it confused with Shoots and Ladders there for a second. But, you know, they were all trying very hard to buy a house, and some of them were lucky and some of them were not. And that led us to a point where we felt like we all fell off a cliff, right?
Right.
Because the market shifted when the Fed, as the Fed had to do, started raising interest rates. And it seemed
Right.
like in a blink of an eye, we went from 3% to near 8. I mean, thankfully
Right.
floating around 7.5 right now. Um, and the reality is that is a normal market. That is a normal interest rate for housing. I came across a great meme the other day, so I'm going to just tell you what it because it was just
Yeah.
So in 1971, the interest rate was 7.33%, and if at that point you decided that you were going to wait for interest rates to come down, you would have waited 23 years for the interest rate to get below 7.33%. And in that time, if you had rented, I mean, just calculate the rent.
Right.
Multiply your monthly rent times 12 times 23 years.
And then what
Really?
that monthly payment would be even with the lower rate and what housing prices
Yeah,
and,
right.
how much
Well,
that
and
goes
then the
into it.
housing, I mean, just the increase in property value over 23 years offsets a higher interest rate.
Oh, big
So
time.
look,
You would have had your
so
house paid off by then.
almost. Or
Mhm,
if you round up like I do, you would have, right? Like it would have
mhm.
been done. You would have owned it free and clear. Like, so waiting's not the right answer, right? Understanding the interest rate is just a number, and it's a mechanism, and it affects how much house you can afford, right?
Right.
And if you're waiting for prices to come down, nobody's seeing that happening, especially not in my market area. You know,
Down here in most Texas markets, I think Austin being the one exception where, we're seeing what I call more of like a course correction. Houses are going to continue to increase, but they increase so steeply that we just have to plateau so that X and Y axis meets where it's
can
supposed to organically.
yeah, yeah. So during COVID and all the crazy stuff, we had almost like a J curve, like where it almost went straight up, in the property value, and that's everybody freaking out about,
Right.
oh, it's a bubble, but it's not, because those prices went up not with loans, they went up with cash. People
Right.
were bringing 50K, 100K over asking in cash to the table because the property appraisal was back at market value, what was then market value, but now
Hmm.
they've paid 100,000K in cash over that. So now the new market value is actually 100K more, right? So
Right.
now I do monthly market updates, and what I can tell you is that month over month, we're still seeing price improvement, right? So
Yeah.
how homes are selling for more per square foot, right? And year over year, we're still 16% higher than last year. And
Hmm.
now that's going to fluctuate by area, how much that
Of
percentage
course.
is.
Of course.
So prices are going up. So if you're waiting for interest rates to come back down, one, we don't know when that's going to happen. Nobody does. Nobody has a crystal ball to know when that's going to happen. So a lot
Yeah.
of
If I
projections.
knew, I would give up real estate and just play the lottery or bet on the ponies.
I
I'd make
Yeah,
more money.
like I could just sell the information, right, and be a billionaire. I used to make jokes about if I could train husbands, I could be a billionaire.
Kinda
So
like French bulldogs.
yeah, exactly. Same kind of personalities. But yeah, no, the interest rate may come down next year, may not, right? And if you wait for that, meanwhile, the prices of homes are going up. So you're waiting for maybe a percentage point better interest rate, so 1%, but meanwhile the properties have gone up last year to this year 16%. So there's
Right.
no cost savings in waiting. I mean, that's just math. The price is going up faster than the interest rate will come down. And so waiting is just going to cost you more money in the long run. So if you want to buy a house, now's the best time. Competition is lower, right? You're
Mhm.
not, you know, sellers are motivated. If their homes are on the market, they want to sell them. Fewer people are writing offers, so maybe you can get some concessions from the seller. Maybe you can get, a better price. Maybe you can get that thing that, bothers you on the home inspection fixed. You won't have to
Right.
throw away all those things because the market's so competitive. And what I can guarantee you is when the rates do come down, it's going to be crazy Candyland out here again, where buyers are going to be up against each other, 15 offers on a house. I'd much
Well,
rather write a contract now.
absolutely. And that's one of the things that I tell my agents is, right now we have this pent up demand. It is the horses at the gate. We have these buyers that are, a little hesitant. We maybe have sellers who are hesitant to sell because they're like, well, where do I go? And I'm trading my 4.5% interest rate for 8%, and I'm going to pay the same amount and get less house, or even with the equity that I'm cashing out with, and the math isn't mathing for them right now. So, I'm telling my agents the best thing that you can do is continue to educate your buyers and your sellers and continue to build your database. I think right now we're going into what is traditionally the slower season in the fall and winter holiday season. This is a great opportunity to stay engaged with the folks that you've been talking to for 6 months, 12 months. It's amazing how they return to the market when we least expect them. So, question for you, where we're in this market, what advice would you have for an agent who's like, I don't know what to do, or an agent who got in the peak and is now really experiencing what a relatively normal market looks
Yeah.
like?
Yeah, so there's a lot of pain out there and there's a lot of fear, um, which I totally understand. And
Yeah.
really it's if you every coach I have, every coach that I've been exposed to, they're all saying the same things. It's time to return to the fundamentals. Maybe
Yeah.
we got off the bandwagon of making those calls, sending text messages, and really loving on our people. And whatever method you use,
Hmm.
um, generally speaking, you just kind of want to return to that and double down on your basics, right? So for me, I do a lot of internet leads and I do also work my sphere. Um, but every day, I send out text messages to my sphere. And it's not just a text, it's actually a video text. And every day, I call 25 of my internet leads and just try and have a conversation. And that's the bare minimum I have to do for myself to count it as a work day, right?
Hmm.
Um,
That's commitment.
but it's hold yourself accountable or
Yeah.
get an accountability partner if you can't hold yourself accountable, right? And it's because of the activities that I do that I have a consistent flow of who's actually active looking, who's still pre-approved, who hasn't talked to their lender in a minute and
Hmm.
hasn't checked what they qualify for since the rate shot up, right? Because what they were
Right.
qualified for in early August is not the same number that they qualified for now, assuming their job and everything stayed the same. Interest rates
Right.
went
Right.
up, so their approval came down, right? So having those conversations and loving on them and nurturing on them, it's also a great time to do all of the things that we need to do, update our web pages. Um, for me, it's, funnels, community pages. I also, this time of year, get real involved in my community with helping with the senior center,
Hmm.
the elementary school, and those things, and really dive into my community and see where I can be of service, right? Because you never know where your business might come from. But I like to be the local expert. And in order to be
Yeah.
a local expert, I can't just know about the real estate. I have to know about the local community, the businesses, all those things. It's a great time to go meet your small business owners, right? And just really work that. Not just like, hey, do you know somebody who wants to buy or sell a house? That's
Yeah.
not what it
That
is.
gets real boring real fast.
Well, and that's salesy and it's icky and
Hmm.
nobody feels good after. I mean, it's just terrible, right? That's not what I do. What I do is go, hey, I see you have an ice cream shop.
Hmm.
I'm great. It's great that you're here. I love ice cream. Would you mind if maybe we, like we're doing here, have a little podcast, but do like a little, business interview and share it on social media, right? And just love on the local business, but also be involved in the local community, either with the seniors or whatever warms your heart. I
Right.
have a real soft spot for children and I have a real soft spot for seniors. The rest of us, well, we're on our own, but those two,
Yeah.
those two mean a lot to me. And so, that for reasons and you know,
Yeah.
um, that's where I tend to focus my efforts. But really, for the business, it's the fundamentals, right? If you're
For
not
sure.
doing, and I have a lot of agents that tell me how busy they are, and oh, I just don't have time to do that, or I don't have time to do that. I'm like, really? Well, okay.
Yeah. Show me your schedule. Show me what you did.
Re-
You got
Well,
it. It's like a math problem. Show your work.
don't tell me you don't have business and you're too busy.
Hmm.
because you got to make time to work your business just like anything else. Nothing lands in your lap without effort. And the activities that we do today is what we're gonna see in the spring, right?
Yeah.
And I personally feel that there's all this pent up demand, but people can't wait forever.
Right.
Every day, 10% of the population has to move every day,
Yeah.
every day. And do you want to be the agent that sat back and just was like, oh, the market? Or do you want to be the agent that is actively trying to find that 10% of people that actually have to sell their house or have to buy a house because of whatever,
Right.
right?
Whatever that situation is or that point that they're in their life.
Right. I'd rather be the active agent that's out there trying to find them, and work with them, because that's what will keep your business going month after month, you know, and year after year. You know, that there is no magic pill. I wish there was.
Oh,
I've
oh
spent
yeah, I wouldn't be doing podcasts and coaching agents. I would be like playing the ponies, doing the lottery because I'm psychic, but I also have
yeah,
a magic pill that just makes clients just fall into my lap and money just rain down from the sky. I wish it
well,
was that easy.
I do believe in the power of visualization, but it's not
Mhm.
quite that literal. Like, I can sit here and visualize money. It's not gonna just fall from the sky.
Right.
Right? So, I work with a lot of coaches. If anybody had a magic pill, I would have found it by now. I have spent thousands upon tens of thousands of dollars on
Mhm.
coaching, right? And that's part of the reason why I have good systems in place, and I'm huge into tech. I love my robots, all of the things that help me, love all my clients, my
Mhm.
leads, my people that I ran across in some far off land somewhere and happened to
Right.
get their name and phone number. Um, without those tools, I wouldn't be able to do what I do, right? And at the same time, nothing replaces me actually picking up the phone and making a phone call.
Well, one of the things that you mentioned that you do on a regular basis is reaching out via text, and you mentioned not just a regular text, but a video text. And I think that's a
Mhm.
beautiful 2023 way to combine technology, um, and still, that idea of reaching out and touching someone. If grew up in the
Right.
80s, that yeah,
Yeah.
the kids
Phone a
don't
friend.
remember
Yeah.
bell telephone. Yeah, but yeah, being able to reach out, and I think there's also something very powerful in video because they get to see your face, they pick up on that body language, that
Yeah.
facial expression. I really think reaching out via video is going to set agents apart versus just text or even really just phone call. Hearing somebody's voice and the tone of their voice is great, but when you can also add the animation of somebody's face and the smile and the light in their eyes, I think it really helps people get to know you. So talk to me a little bit about um, when you started incorporating video, did it change the way that people reacted back to you? Did you get more people responding to your text? Or was it kind of business as usual?
Oh god, no. It gets a very different response. Now, there's a couple caveats I'm gonna give you. So I video text with my what I would call my close sphere on a
Hmm.
regular, right? And one of my lenders, we exchange video texts and it's always something funny, because I'll say, please let me know whatever I can do to make your day more fantastic. Just let me know as
Hmm.
part of my regular video text kind of thing. And he'll respond, well, if you had a buyer that wanted to put 50% down on a $2 million property, I could use one of those right about. I'm like, you and me both, buddy. And we just go
Yeah,
back and forth with the video text as opposed to a phone call. And it's just
right.
really fun and engaging. Um, and if you happen to see on social media that it's somebody's birthday, don't be the 900 person to go happy birthday on that birthday post. Send them a
Right.
video text and be like, sing them happy birthday, right? Like, how many
Hmm.
people are
Do
doing
something
that?
silly, do something
Just
fun with it.
off the wall, whatever works for you, whatever
Hmm.
authentically you. Like, nobody,
Yes. Yeah.
I'm a real ham and sometimes very silly
Hmm.
and run around in a unicorn suit, but most people aren't like that. But
Right.
whatever is authentically you, do that. And video will help show your authentic self more than anything else. Text messages can be read one of 10 ways,
Hmm.
right? Nobody knows the tone in which you sent it. And if autocorrect gets involved, all bets are off.
Oh, it's
So
it's tragic. And
so
don't get started on, like, when I do talk to text and it wants to make me sound
oh,
very stupid, so
oh, yeah, my car still doesn't identify some of the people in my phone. So so, you know, the video just really makes it a little bit more personal, and the only piece of advice I will give is before you shoot the video, smile your biggest smile for, like, 30 seconds. Not only will it change your attitude, it'll change your body language, and the other thing is don't be, "I have to send a video text to my people." It's that I get to send a video
Yeah.
text to my people, right? And just that little switch in the word makes a big difference. Um, but I recently started with the A's in my phone, and
Mhm.
I just because, there's people I video text them all the time,
Right.
but there's a lot of people in my phone, some of them, I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember who they are. Right?
Same.
So I started with the A's and I just sent, "Hey, have a fantastic day. And if there's anything I can do to make it more fantastic, please don't hesitate to let me know." And so many people have reached back to me that now I remember who they are because some of
Right.
them sent me a video text.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah. And so then you see the face, you're like, "Oh, yeah,
That
totally get
person,
who
yeah.
that is." Yeah, totally know who that person is now. So just way more personal. Another friend of mine is doing video text, but her thing is she wants to fill in those gaps in her database. So she's
Mhm.
like, "Hey, I'm just trying to be better about sending out birthday cards, Christmas cards to people in my sphere. Could you give me, please, your children's names and their birthdays?"
Yeah.
You know, so that I can send them a birthday card. And who doesn't want their kid to get birthday mail, right? So,
We don't get fun things in the mail anymore.
no, it's
We
all
don't
bills. It's
It's
very
all
bad.
bills and yeah, the
Yeah,
the the one older person in our family who sends out an actual Christmas card, and that's about it. It's
yeah,
advertising and bills and yeah,
yeah.
postcards
The
for services.
the e-card, while it's great and the animations are fun, it's not quite as personal as that
Yeah.
snail mail card. I so as a member of Buffini's coaching
Mhm.
for a long time there, I'm still in the habit of writing out personal notes.
Yeah.
And there's nothing better than a handwritten note, um, for just making somebody feel warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, and I think that really speaks to that I get to versus
Yeah,
I have to. When we can go,
yeah,
I'm gonna make somebody's day with it. I'm gonna send out I'm very much in that same vein of I want to celebrate things with my past clients or the people that I'm connected with. And I've got somebody's address, they get a house anniversary card from me every year with like a little sweet treat, little candy or whatever I send out.
yep,
And I'm probably the only person who's like, what? Oh my gosh, it's the anniversary of you buying that house. Like, I hope you had another 365 days of good memories. And knowing that, not to pat myself on the back, but that's going to be when they get that, that's going to be something good in their day. I'm not
right,
sending them oh, and if you know anybody looking to buy or sell real estate, this is uniquely about them and a happy moment in the history of their lives. Or
yeah,
I see
yeah,
that, they adopted a new dog. Great. I'm gonna send them, congratulations on the new member of your family because we wanna celebrate those happy things, and I think that really, um, speaks to that service over sales that I try to impart on my agents, and sounds like you're
yeah.
very much the same way.
Yeah, and, for next year, this is just kind of off the wall. So you know how there's, like, National Sock Day, national,
Mhm.
like, really strange
Weird stuff, yeah.
national days. Yeah. So next year, my plan is to do a little bit more along those veins. So instead of
Oh, how
sending
cool.
traditional holiday cards like Happy Valentine's Day, it'll be
Mhm.
like, you know, happy, national, wear your underwear on your head day or whatever it is, right? Like,
I love it.
just because nobody will expect it, 1, but 2, it goes along with my sense of humor, like,
Mhm.
yeah, today's a great day, it's Valentine's Day, whatever, but it's also
Underwear on your head day.
underwear on your head day, and,
Yeah.
just have fun with it, right?
And I think it also shows people who you are, and people work with you because they want to work with you, because they like your personality, because they like your approach, because they like other things that you do. I joke all the time that I'm the official San Antonio Realtors for French bulldog owners. I know we've mentioned them 3 times in this show, and also fans of true crime podcasts, because it's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
she's into the same thing that I am," or, "This person, they go hiking like I like to go hiking," or, "They go to that same restaurant that we really like to go to." And so when you can kinda show people who you are when you take your real estate agent hat off, I think that's really where that client attraction can come into play. So being authentically yourself is such an important thing.
Yeah, so and one of the things that, I go to meetups for I like to go hiking as well. So I go to meetups for hiking and things of that nature.
Mhm.
I never bring up real estate.
No.
Somebody will ask me, "What do you do?" And I'll be like, "Well, I'm a realtor." And inevitably, somewhere along the trail, somebody will start to ask me about the market. I don't have to
Mhm.
start that conversation ever,
No.
right? So I'm never salesy about it. I'm never there, handing out all my cards to everybody. And if somebody wants to have that conversation, I'm always down to have a good conversation about real estate. So, a few things that I do on a regular is I have Google alerts so that I get any sort of inbound what's happening in my local area from the planning commission, all kinds of things.
Mhm.
Um, just so that I can be informed on what's happening in the market and not just the interest rate and how many houses are on the market, but what are the plans coming down the pike, things of that nature. And if you want to know what dirt, why is that dirt being moved? The
Mhm.
planning commission's a good place. Also, your commercial realtors are a good place to network with because they know, you know, big developments happening over here or over there
Right.
because they were part of the deal, right? So paying attention to commercial land being moved and sold can let you know, oh, there's going to be a new shopping center with 4 new restaurants and this, that, and the other thing, and start talking about it early, and then you really do show that you are part of the community and you're not just somebody sitting behind a desk waiting to throw a sign up and call it a day, right?
Yeah, like we did
Yeah.
in 2022.
Right. Well, that was all we were allowed to do.
Well, Jane, I appreciate you joining us today. If people wanna connect with you, where can they find you?
So, my name, Jane Hewley, on any platform will pull me up. I keep it really simple. I don't try and do Sniggle Fritz 432. That would just be way too hard. So it's Jane Hewley on any platform. You'll find me. Also, the Noble Team has pages as well. So
Wonderful. Well, Jane Hewley, thanks so much for joining us on The Enterprising Agent.
thank you so much for having me. Have a great night.
You too.